before he got his judgment, his decision. Like, it was right at the end of his trial. He passed away in the Don jail because of medical reasons. But before he passed away, I went to his trial, and lo and behold, the crown from his case is the same crown that I did my murder case. So during the break, I go up to her and I'm like, hey, hi. And lo and behold, she's like, who are you? And I explained to her who I was, and her response was, so did you learn your lesson? Yeah, you can rewind that. That's crazy. Yeah, so what do you say to something like that? I just walked away and laughed and be like, I'm good. Like, you know, I just gave her some, like, I'm good. Like, I'm all teeth. I'm out. I'm here to support, you know what I mean, the young bucks that are going through what they're going through, you know? So that was like 2 weeks after I came out, and most people don't do that. You don't come out of serving a life sentence and you're back in court supporting other people. Like, guys don't do that. They just go home and crawl up. But it ain't having that with me, not with what's going on with the system and what I see. It's not just certain things that doesn't sit well with me. Like, I'm flabbergasted by how some mans can go through stuff similar to what I went through, and just at the end of it just go about their business like nothing happened. Like, that, to me, that's you have a mental issue, B. You have a mental issue if you could go through an ordeal and sit down and act like nothing happened without addressing it and finding out why it happened and helping others from not going down the same path. You have a mental issue and you're part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's wrong with some men who just come out and just crawl up and don't do nothing, inactive, or there's some dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Wise up and fix up. But anyways, back to me and the youths. So, you know, like I said, 2 weeks, me being out, I'm there supporting these kids, you know. So, oh yeah, but the crown's name is Rita Zaid. That's the name of the crown. Her name is Rita Zaid. Look her up, you know. So, fast forward to about a year after I got out, you know. One of the things I got into while I was incarcerated was physical fitness. I got into working out, and it really helped. I found that it really helps with your sanity, you know, especially in being in a place, being incarcerated. And I also know that it helps out here. So in and out, you need to maintain your sanity. So I was going to the gym, and this particular gym I was going to is like a few blocks from where my murder case happened, where I live, where I grew up, all this stuff. So really introduced my area, you know what I mean? So here I am in the gym. It was Good Friday. I remember this day clearly. It was Good Friday, and 11. Good Friday 2011, and I'm in the gym. It was leg workout day, and I was doing leg press. And in the corner of my eye, I see this lady, and lo and behold, it's Rita Zaid. Remember, I told you it's Good Friday, so it's kind of empty in the gym because you know, people on it's Friday off. So it's like, okay. So I'm seeing this lady, and we start talking, and it was an innocuous conversation because at the end of it, I just said bye to her, and she even waved bye to me. But the gist of the conversation was just her. I felt like it was her just trying to make me feel bad about, I don't know what she was trying to do, but she kept on emphasizing about how hard it is for people. It was nonsense. It was just nonsense. Like, the conversation was nonsense. And in retrospect, it was a sting operation. It was a setup, because I can't call it for not what it is, because 2 days later, there was a warrant for my arrest. I'm at this job, like I just said, I just came out. A year later, I'm at this job that I just got not too long ago, and I get a phone call after 2 days later, after I had this meeting, ran into this lady at the gym, saying, oh, there's a warrant, the feds no, actually, I got a call from a friend saying the cops came to her place looking for me. I'm like, what are you talking about? So, like I said, I didn't know myself then, so I had a lawyer, my legal beagle called the division. So my legal beagle called the division, and he's like, yo, calls me back naturally. He's like, yeah, they got a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, she says you threatened her and rate. I'm like, what? So, you know, I turned myself in. I had to deal with that ordeal for like a year. And they ended up dropping the charges, but at that point I was just like fed up. You know what I mean? Like, cause you understand the pattern I've been telling you. Like, I'm out here, and within that year, I'm working with Redemption Retrogression Services, Bright Future Alliance, and this is not working actually. I'm volunteering for them, you know what I mean? And with Redemption, I'm going into group homes, talking to the youth. This is all within a year, and a year later, on Good Friday, I'm getting arrested. How am I doing all this stuff? I'm getting arrested. There's something spiritual going on, so I had to figure it out. And one of the things I was introduced to when I first came out that I did not get into right away was more science and my indigenous rights, my untouchness rights. So it talks about we get into metaphysics a lot. So I got to learn a lot about myself, you know what I mean, and how to conduct myself on this plane. So, you know, people like Rita Zayed, 54 Division, Lambie, who works at the peace officer Lambie, quote unquote Justice Clement, who was in courtroom 504 or 5 yesterday. These people are vampires. They're all vampires, you know, and they look at us as a meal ticket. And it's understandable, because when we label ourselves these chattel tags like black, Negro, colored, you know what I mean, or put ourselves under the jurisdiction, you know, they're able to do these things, you know, because you don't know yourself, you know. You're a slave essentially because you don't know yourself, you know, like the prodigal son. That's essentially what most people are. They're like the prodigal son. You guys need to find your way home, and until you find your way home, you're gonna suffer, and it's that simple. Meanwhile, some of your siblings are living in mansions because they found their way home. You guys will continue to suffer. Oh yeah, don't worry. You guys want to believe in that fake money that you have and you're stacking? What doesn't exist, fam? None of it exists. Okay? So anyways, so people like Rita Zayed are vampires. People like Faye McQuat are vampires. That's the judge from my murder beef. You know what I mean? Her, Faye McQuat and Rita Zayed conspired to get me convicted, because I shouldn't have got convicted. I had a self-defense case, you know. The whole court system, the whole Catholic indoctrination, like, it's all vampire systems. It's there to bleed you out. You feel what I'm saying? It's there to take you away from who you are naturally. And since I found myself through you know what I mean, prophets like Noble Drew Ali and other prophets that came before him, you feel what I'm saying? I learned to operate myself in the proper realm, in this realm. Like, literally found a way to operate myself in this realm. Like, it's that simple. Find your way home, study yourself. And nobody's telling you to join a temple. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean, a temple more? Well, you don't live in your body no more? Like, the temple is your body. What does that mean? I don't understand how some man can pick up the fez and drop it. How do you do that? How do you pick up the fez, get shown the light, and you drop it? What are you doing behind closed doors that's making you drop that fez? Fix up. You know who you are. And we all know who you are. Fix up. And stop trying to vampire the information, because that's no different from the de facto. Fix up. Not for the man them, fix up. The women them, fix up. Don't pick up the fez and drop it. You get shown the light and you drop it. It's like seeing God and denying Him. It's been said in the Bible, you're going to suffer for that. It's one thing when you don't know God, but it's the next thing when you've been shown the light and you deny it. You're going to suffer. I'm not saying it. The Bible says it. Do your research. Fix up, people. Islam.
Fate that the blessings carry, legendary story to be told. When I'm dead and buried, angels so heavenly guide me through destiny. Stepped in scheming hell kitchen, stole the devil recipe. Hell high trial, prison riots on the cell block. Murder investigation going on, so the jail lock. Middle of a war scene, roping in morphines, more cream, chopping oxys, the lighters and morphine, slanging to the buckets, cause he's cut it up and snorted, sending money to Jamaica, cause my homie got deported.
And that person must have said no, because in the end, Nancy had to do it. So it's just funny what's going on. Anyways, Justice Clement, in his closing submission, he stated that the peace officer, the mercenary, Lanre, had no right to arrest me because I did provide a proper piece of ID. The judge further stated that Officer Lanre was blinded by misinformation he obtained off YouTube about free men on the land movement. I mean, you could watch the video, he still made that statement, and then he seen my ID and still proceeded with what he did. And he stated, if a peace officer asks for a driver's license and an individual does not have one, the peace officer must ask for an alternate ID, piece of ID. And according to Justice Clement, and according to case laws is other cases that have been ruled on, an ID must only have the name and address, domicile, on it. Nothing more, nothing less. So in other words, my temple card, which has my picture on it with my domicile, like my complexion, everything's on it. Everything's on it. Was more than enough. So on that basis alone, everything got thrown out. And we know, I sent in, you guys know I sent in the writs. I'm pretty sure Justice Clemens knows, what I stood on. I ordered the transcript of his closing statement so he could get exactly what he said. And if you need to, I'll get you copies. Just holler at me. But pretty much that was the end of it. After it all started in November 1st, 2013. Now we're in 2015 now. I want to touch on something in regards to just dealing with this system, this beast. Because it's a system. And we've seen what happened again. I'm bringing it up because this is the freshest thing and the most heinous of things that we heard most recently done by these mercenaries with Sandra Bland, with the murder of her, when they murdered her. A lot of people have a lot of things to say in regards to her conduct and his conduct and what happened behind those jail bars. And we could only speculate. Like I said, she's not here to say her piece, so at the end of the day, we could only speculate, But one thing we could try to understand is that it's not a game with them, right? But that being said, we need to learn how to conduct ourselves in a proper manner. What I mean by proper manner is you need to be confident in where you stand. And if you don't know, one, knowledge yourself and the civics of the lands that you dwell on, you are susceptible to getting harassed, abused, or killed, everything. And it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. Status is another thing. But color as they put it, race, doesn't matter. Status is another thing. So Sandra did the right thing. She knew the right stuff. She knew her rights. But again, like I mentioned before in other interviews, that it was the emotional aspect that failed her, you know? It was the emotional aspect that failed her. Because as strong as she was outside of those jail walls, we don't know how she was behind it, you know, because that's a whole different world there. So we just need to learn to compose ourselves, and that comes with confidence, you know. Like, it's like anything that you do as an athlete. There's a practice, like, you need to study the craft. You need to study, like, you have to study civics. There's no if, and, or buts about it. Yeah, you can get a lawyer and keep working your ass off to pay off lawyers. I ain't getting you nowhere, because you're still going to get abused, no matter who your lawyer is. But if you present yourself and you know your stuff and you know yourself, nobody's going to bother with you. Why would they? Why would they? It's cost effective. In my case, I'm like, anytime these guys try to go, like, I know exactly where they stand, because they're corporations. So they have, like, Nancy Krieger, she's the head crown, which means she's the manager. She's gonna have to answer to why this particular case, which I'm pretty sure they set aside a certain amount of money for, exceeded that. And that's how you beat them. Paperwork upon paperwork. Told you, we casting spells. Islam. It's Tuesday, January the 10th, 2017. I just want to talk about this traffic case, that highway traffic incident that happened back in August. You guys know about me standing on my square as a Moorish American, you know, making sure, you know, my indigenous rights are protected at all time when I deal with these highwaymen or, you know, corporations. So back in August 17th, 2016, weekly, every day, I travel to the daycare, depending what the schedule is for my Empress, but I travel to the daycare 20 minutes from my house and 20 minutes back, so a total of 40 minutes. And so that Wednesday, on my way back from the daycare, around 8:20 something, 8:30, I got pulled over by a highwayman, and his name was Christian Consack. There's no reason at all for him to pull me over, and just for the fact that I guess he knew who I was. It's no secret of who I am in the police community. So, and for the most part, the people that understand what I stand on, like the peace officers, the highwaymen that have come in contact with me, they understand where I'm coming from. And then there's a handful who want to, you know, they're feeling froggy, so they want to leap. So Christian Consack was feeling froggy, and I don't know who sent him, because it's apparent somebody sent him, because I knew from he came that day from my interaction with him that this does not make sense, but what occurred. So on the 14th, you know, I stood on my square. He tried to, you know, tell me about suspended driver's license. I don't know what is that. You just give him my nationality card. I just gave him my nationality card, and so, you know, he calls for backup. At this point, traffic's already, you know, we blocked off traffic. Traffic's gone down to one lane. This was on McCowan and Elsman area. And so, you know, I feel like maybe his ego was getting played at this point. I came into the factor of him doing the right thing, because I made it clear to him. I said, you know, you have no right to do what you're doing, because he wanted me to come out the conveyance, the car I was traveling in, so they could tow it, because he's saying I'm not a licensed driver, which is nonsense, because my ID is my nationality card, and I know my rights to travel. I don't need your license. I don't need nothing from your government, like your de facto government, your corporate government, Canada, all capital letters. I don't need nothing from you as far as
traveling. I could travel on the road, highways, on my own without your permission. So I made that clear to him on the side of the road, and and he was trying to be, cordial about everything, because I feel like he did not know what he was getting himself into. Maybe he heard and, lost a bet and he had to do this, but, he did not know what he was getting himself into. So anyways, anytime I get pulled over by this highwayman, right away I made sure I called my Empress, and that particular day she was, again, out of work, slave, and she came as this interaction was going on. She was on her way down. And this interaction it was getting out of hand to the point that now he wants to break the window. And I even called 911, so that's documented. I told him I don't know who this dude is, why he wants, I made that clear. Called 911 on August 14, August 17, 2016, and I made that clear, and I said, hey, listen, I don't know who these guys, they're dressed up as peace officers, but they're not moving like peace officers, because, again, I'm letting this guy know you have no right to do what you're doing. These guys had the car surrounded. They blocked the conveyance I was traveling in. They blocked it in, and it's like I can't even drive away because they know I could easily drive away, and they have no reason to stop me again. Now this is just all about their ego and a show and tell for the masses, because like I said, it's like 8:30 in the morning. So there's a lot of people watching at this point. Matter of fact, somebody that knows me seen this going down. It was until a couple of weeks ago that they was like, yeah, I saw you that day, and so anyways, so like I said, the ego started to play a factor. For me, it was more just standing on my square, and I just remained in the conveyance, and they had extendo sticks ready to break the window, and they're telling me they're going to break the window if I don't come out the conveyance. I'm like, no, I'm standing on my square, and then I had a phone with me, and I got like a 40 seconds recording of me and Christian Consack talking. So here it is.
Name again?
Christian Consack.
What's your partner's name?
Pardon?
What's your partner's name?
Kayla Garrett.
Where did you notice me? When did you spot this conveyance?
I'm not going to have this conversation with you at the side of the road.
That's what I thought. Okay. And what was the reason for this?
For us stopping you?
Yeah.
Because you're driving with a suspended driver's license.
How did you figure that out?
Because I have a police computer that gives me certain information.
And you thought that the owner of the car was a male, right?
I did, yes.
So and later on you were mistaken, right?
And I apologize for my mistake.
Okay, so you messed up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're perfect for the rest of the day, right?
Am I perfect?
Yeah.
No, far from it.
Okay, so chances are you're still messing up.
Well, I know for a fact that your driver's license is suspended, and that's why...
You know for a fact? You know for a fact?
Yes.
That I own a driver's license?
Well, your license is expired.
Here it is. So now, with that video, he was already confused to begin with. He thought I was somebody, a female traveling on the highway. Then he somehow knew who I was and wanted to tell me who I am. I wanted to disregard what my card says, the name on my card. So he's like, oh no, you're not supposed to be driving. Finally, my Empress showed up right before they were apparently about to break the window, because according to another female highwayman who was kind of down the street further, she stated to my Empress as she arrived, hurry up, they're about to break the window. Go talk to him, meaning go talk to me. So when my Empress got on the scene, she was like, you know what? I know you're upset, whatnot. I know. Let's just deal with this in court. And the same thing Christian said. Christian was like, we'll go to court like gentlemen and deal with this. I was like, okay. And even before they towed the conveyance away, my Empress realized she recognized the dude because the peace officer, because of where she works, they have to deal with peace officers all the time. And it just so happened this peace officer, somebody she recognized. And she even said to him, hey, I know you. Don't tow the car. Trying to explain to him, and he's like, again, his ego far gone. It's been a half an hour, 45 minutes at this point. We're on the side of the road. Traffic is blocked down to one lane, So again, he's radio in that did pull me over, so he's got to have an answer for that. I mean, he can't arrest me, he can't do nothing to me. So the only thing he could do is kidnap the conveyance. And he has no right to do that because there was on the scene, I gave him a second option, my Empress, a licensed driver. You disregard that. So I tried to give you two different ways to get out of this. Is either swallow your pride, just let me go, or let my Empress operate the conveyance. But no, your ego again got in the way. You kidnapped the conveyance for 7 days. For 7 days, we didn't have we didn't have access to a conveyance to use. We had to make alternative plans for a week to travel 20 minutes and back to pick up my children, based on your ego. Okay, so now I was certain about my stance. So me, the next time I go to court, which is traffic court, 1530 Markham Road, we set a court date. I believe this was back in October. The day I set the court date, we set it for January 9th, 3 p.m. in courtroom E3 at the same location, 1530 Markham Road. All right. So that same day we set up the trial date. I went straight to 42 Division, which is where Christian Concert works out of. 42 Division just so happens to be right next to the courthouse, the traffic courthouse. So I walk over there, and I went and I spoke to a lady, a police officer, a highwayman by the name of Kay Kinnear. And I said, make sure Christian Concert is at court January 9th. I went home, waited patiently for the day to come, which was yesterday. I go to court at 3 p.m. All right. 2:59, I'm noticing I don't see Christian. And 3 o'clock, they call my appellation, and the Crown's name is S. Davidson in courtroom E3. He calls my appellation, and the judge was Judge Galani. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, the case has been thrown out. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What about this bill right here for $819.25? That's how much it how much it costs to keep the car impounded. After you didn't want to listen to me, you wanted to stroke your ego. And I don't know who sent you. Like I said, like I have a strong feeling that you were sent, whether by Daryl Lambie or from 54 Division or LaSalle. I don't know. Like just because you guys, the coincidence of you guys working with the Toronto Police Service, it's not enough. But it goes deeper than that. And I feel like you guys are conspiring. You know, the names I mentioned, you guys are conspiring. Because I'm pretty sure it's not far-fetched that Lambie or LaSalle from the previous case I had at College Park knows Christian Concert. Because what would possess you to do what you did? And then on the day of not show up to court, after you made all that scene on the 17th, you go to court, you claim that, oh, you went to court in the morning on January and told the Crown, oh, you don't feel like there's reasonable grounds to prosecute. Which is something I told you on the side of the road. I'm not playing with you or anybody that thinks this is a game. This is not a game. Collect your mortgage payments and keep it moving. Look the other way when you see me. It's that simple. I know how to govern myself. I made that clear. So this guy, Christian Concert, badge number 10520, out of 42 Division, highwayman, Christian Concert, pulls a no-show. Oh. I look at the Judge Galani and S. David and the Crown, S. Davidson, courtroom E3 yesterday, and on January 9th, yesterday, and I was like, what do you mean the case is thrown out? Okay, that's fine. What about this bill here? So like, oh, this has nothing to do with it. I'm upset now. So I'm like, nah. What do you mean? Like, I'm just supposed to walk away? I'm like, you know what? Give me your name. They didn't want to give me their name. They called security. The security said, okay, well, if I leave the courtroom, they'll give me the name. Finally, they gave me the name, and I left. Guess where? Straight to 42 Division, because I'm gonna serve this guy, Christian Concert, with this thing. with his bill. I also got a bill for Daryl Lambie from 2013 because there's a $235 towing that needs to get dealt with. I just left it on the side for now because there's ongoing cases. Until we're finished, I'm supposed to go back on January 18th. I run 17th, and I'm going to court, and we'll hopefully wrap that case up in Old City Hall, and then I'm going to serve Lambie with this and his supervisor with this bill here. So I go straight next door to 42 Division, and I asked for a Christian contact, and my Empress is with me. I sat down, and as soon as he came, I pressed record.
So, Christian, I'm here to serve you this bill. I told you that day you did not show up. I told you that day. I specifically told you about my rights. Now I go to court. The last time I was in court, I made sure I told Kenya, I said, yo, make sure Christian comes to court. What happens, let me finish. What happens today? I go to court, ready to do this like gentlemen, like you claim you were. Okay? I'm going to show you the video that you said. We'll argue about this. We don't want to argue about this on the side of the road. We're going to deal with this in court. You did not even have the guts to show up. Now I got to come here and look for you like a bitch. Yo, listen, here's your bill. Make sure you pay my bill. Listen, buddy, I'm going to come back in a week. I want my bill paid in regards to that toll. First of all, I don't care about the hardship it cost us, okay? It's the fact that you took the car for a week. And I told you, Christian. I told you on the side of the road, like gentlemen. And then I gave another option, like the gentleman I am. You know, she said, you know her personally, by the way. And you still ignored it. She said, please, please, I remember. Do you remember that? She says, please. And you know what he said? Oh, it's too far gone. It's too far gone. And you had no fucking balls, no cojones to show up in court today. Make sure my bill is paid, please. Please, that's all I said.
I was in court.
This morning, not at 3 o'clock.
I was in court at 1:30. I explained to the prosecutor what I was doing, and he said that was okay.
Okay. All right. So this is, what's your name?
I have your paper.
Yeah.
I'll forward it to my staff sergeant.
Make sure in a week I'm gonna come back, put it to her name. Put it to her name, okay? In a week I'll be back. Okay, Christian?
You live there, I don't.
Oh, you don't live here? No. Where do you live?
I live in Canaanland. I live in Canaanland.
Canine Land. Well, I live in Canada. And then there's a city in Canada, it's called Toronto. That's right.
That's a corporation. That's why
Huh? You guys are jokers.
Black computer. Watch yourself.
Here, hold this.
Children.
How are you doing?
Videoing.
Yeah?
Videoing.
Yeah, you having a good time videoing?
Hi.
Hi. What's your name? What you doing? What you doing?
Okay.
Yeah? How are you today?
All right. Stop. Call the sheriff.
Okay.
You're good?
Please don't touch me, sir.
Well, you touched me. I'm just trying to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, do you want to talk to me?
I don't want to talk to you.
Where are you going? How about you? You good? How are you doing today, sir? Yeah?
All right. Stop. Call the sheriff.
Okay.
your name? What are you doing? I just want to talk to you. We got 2 feet. 2 feet. How about you? Are you good today? Yeah? You just hanging out today? No, I don't hang out. You're not hanging out? No. Well, I got another one here. How are you doing? You're good today?
I don't answer questions.
Oh, you don't answer questions?
All right, stop. Call the sheriff.
Okay.
Why don't you answer questions? I'm just asking how you are.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah? You just hanging out like your friends here today? Yeah?
It's
All
not
hanging
friends,
out.
it's a family.
You're a family. Excellent. That's amazing. So what are we doing out here today? You tell me this.
Don't answer questions.
What are you doing? Oh, you want me to ask you? What are you doing today?
Where's the delegation of authority?
So what are you doing? I'm just asking, man to man.
Well, the person should also ask them, where's your delegation of authority order?
What are you doing today?
Where's the delegation of authority?
So what are you doing? I'm just asking, man to man.
Do you have a driver's license or not?
Sir,
Yes.
do you have a delegation of authority?
What is a delegation of authority order? Tell me.
Let me say this, ma'am. The only one supposed to identify themselves is the person who has my child. And there's rules and law. You gave an oath to secure my unalienable constitutional rights. You can play the police authority game with you if you want to.
I'm not playing the authority game. I'm asking you some questions.
And I'm letting you know, where's your delegation of authority order from Congress, certifiable and in writing on the public record? Where's your affidavit of fact?
Sir,
Where's your affidavit of fact?
my affidavit, how about my oath of office? It's probably on file with the county. I'm not sure where it's filed at.
Okay, so you're letting me know you're a party to this to piracy, and you're kidnapping my child, human trafficking.
Are you a man?
What?
Are you a man?
Yeah, I'm a Moorish American national.
How are you doing?
Right?
The Lanre
How are you
Conference
doing?
supervisor?
Or you don't want to talk to me? Are you the leader? Who's the leader here? Are you the leader? You're the leader. Okay, what's going on today? It's not supposed to be driving. Government says he's not supposed to be driving.
All right, stop. Call the sheriff.
Okay.
Yeah, we work for the government. That's
Private corporation.
Private corporation.
Yes, the corporation
What's
of
your
the city
name?
of Toronto.
Yeah. What's your name?
Is
Is that your leader's name? Is that the leader? Is that the group?
That's my name.
That's actually that's your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Officer Blair.
Yeah.
You got the same
Yes,
ID?
yes.
Yeah. You see that? Yeah. So, you've heard of the Toronto though, right? It's a municipality. You've heard of that?
Municipalities
That's
are
where we
wrong.
live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you live there. I don't.
Oh, you don't live here?
No.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Canaanland.
Smoke weed every day.
Canine Land. Okay. Well, I live in Canada.
When Francis Bacon wrote A New Atlantis, many people used this as kind of a catalyst for turning the Americas into that land, the New Atlantis, in the belief that whether you believe religiously or symbolically that there was an ancient culture that was wiped out because we had gotten too far past our principles and ideals, and how now we needed to bring that back up to par and live in this light of God. In 1776, over 85%, I believe, of the U.S. were Puritans, and they were on a new Puritan paradigm where they were basically saying that the United States was God's land, and that these biblical ideas referred to just as much to the past as to now, that we could take these ideas of the Bible and fit them to the new land, that it was our last hope. And Israel fits in there, all these different lands and places when you start to understand the meaning of what the people thought of these places as and how important they were. And when the Puritans came and started trying to turn America into this new Atlantis, there's an angle to consider that I think people, we hear a lot about the Native Americans and how, you know, that was basically, you know, it was, can't think of the word I'm looking for, but when the Americans came and or should I say when the Europeans came, when the Americans came and or should I say when the Europeans came, when the Americans came and or should I say when the Europeans came and started to wipe out the Native Americans, the justification that was used for that, because we can look back on it now and say, my God, what were they thinking? How could they get themselves to, you know, how could they convince themselves this was okay? These were religious people. They considered the Native Americans to be the Canaanites, as in the Bible. They considered the Native Americans to be the Canaanites, as in the Bible. They considered the Native Americans to be the Canaanites, as in the Bible.
Driving under suspension. Driving under suspension. Oh, he was. Oh, you're driving behind the wheel.
He give you a driver's license? It doesn't matter, so he's going to be arrested.
What?
He's going to get arrested.
Driving under suspension.
He give you a driver's license? It doesn't matter, so he's going to be arrested.
What?
He's going to get arrested.
Driving under suspension.
He give you a driver's license? It doesn't matter, so he's going to be arrested.
What?
He's going to get arrested.
Driving under suspension.
We're going to cut to what the realness is of what went down. Because we already know how these people do. They kidnap people, they do what it is they do. So one of the things that we want to enforce is how powerful unity is. Keep in mind that the people who were present were people who were just at the town hall meeting, right? We call it town hall meeting. People that showed up, these are the people that were there. So we're gonna let the good brother give us a little schooling about what happens behind the scenes when Moors get kidnapped out here, right? So people can get a perspective of, you know, the work that we put in, the time that we put in, and how much of an impact, no violence, no whatever, but how much of an impact nationality and birthrights has on unity, right? There's a lot more.
Islam, fams.
So yeah, just introduce yourself, and we'll just start off from, I guess, when they actually took you, and you know, conversations that you had with these people or whatever.
Okay, it's Lanre on the Windy Bay. So you know, I've had my my interactions with these de facto agents, these highwaymen, and it just so happened that I had left the town hall meeting on Sunday and got pulled over. And actually, it was a couple of, because it was like a trap that was going on, a couple of conveyances, including mine, got pulled over. And ironically, the two other conveyances got let go, and mine was the one that they focused on. And so, you know, they put a scout car in front of my conveyance, another scout car behind my conveyance, you know. I don't know why, but that's how they do when it comes to us exercising our right to travel. So, and I got on the phone as soon as which was not too far from where we had the town hall meeting, maybe less than 5-minute drive. And as soon as I got on the phone, called one of the Moors, and ironically, they showed up one by one, And when they showed up, remember, we went from 2 scout cars. By the time they took me in, I think the Morris said there were like 10 scout cars, because by the time all the Morris showed up, it was like 10. We were 10 deep. So that really befuddled them. Like, that got them more frazzled than anything, because for the most part, when exercising the right to travel, we usually by ourselves or another person. But it's just so divine that Allah was working with us that day, that the town hall meeting, in connection with the town hall meeting being just around the corner, and them just being able to just travel over quickly, really got them befuddled. Like, so after they took me in, because they taken me in for some outstanding thing that I'm going to kangaroo court for. I was supposed to change my address. I was supposed to notify them of my change of domicile, and I didn't, and that was the only reason they really kidnapped me. But I got handled today, and everything is okay. But once I got to the police station, the big question is how did they show up? How did you call them, and how come so many showed up, and where did they all come from? And that was a big talk in the station, that where did all this more come from out of nowhere? Because it just showed them the strength that we have together, and it kind of just threw them off. But they don't know that really and truly it was just a divine thing, because from the proximity of the time of me leaving the town hall meeting, and the people that were at the town hall meeting were just around the corner. So that really threw them off. And then even as far as, for the most part, when we're out in public in front of the masses, still grandstand and whatnot, but behind closed door, once you're in that station, it's a whole different dealing.
So quick question. Quick question. So, from the perspective of somebody who's sitting in the seat getting kidnapped, right?
Mm-hmm.
The maneuvering that they do when they're going through the motion before they put the cuffs on and put somebody down into the thing, you're saying that the things that they're doing isn't really them enforcing anything. It's more of them trying to save face.
Yeah, most definitely, because the ego is at play at this point, because we've been on the side of the road for 45 minutes, because they didn't even try to do anything in regard to kidnapping me. The initial highwayman that was there, ironically, is a Sikh who had a turban on. We call him the Turbanator. So he didn't even know what to do when I presented my nationality card. He went back to his scout car and sat there for like half an hour on the phone trying to figure out what to do. It wasn't until they figured out, okay, we got this little I gave him an opening basically, and that which is on me, but again, it's all divine. Everything's divine, because the division that actually kidnapped him is the 13th division. So even that was a sign for me to just not even worry. And the presence of the Moors put me at ease. And I was talking to my wife on the phone as well when all this was going on. So like I said, just the experience of dealing with these guys, it really didn't bother me. And that's another thing that really kind of was an issue to them, is how relaxed and calm we were and dealing with them. There wasn't no let my people go chant, nothing like that. It was just okay, you guys gonna do what you're gonna do. So for the most part, they really had no standing, So if them doing what they did with me kidnapping me was just to save face and just a grandstanding thing. Because once they got me and I was gone, and behind closed door, there was a different story. Normally, when you get kidnapped, they ask you to take off your hat. I had my toque on, and I told them, you know what? That's my national headdress. I'm not taking it off. And ironically, the toque that I had on that day was a North Star hat. If you're familiar with the hockey team, Minnesota North Stars, they ironically changed their name, and now that team, that name doesn't exist anymore. So I'm like, hey, this is my national headdress. If this guy could have his turban on as a peace officer, highwayman, this is my national headdress. No argument. My Circle 7 ring, I was able to leave that on. I told them that's religious too. No argument. It was just a whole different story behind closed door, you know. And I mean, they kidnapped me overnight. By the next day, I was out. There was no issues at all. And even the quote unquote charge they brought me in on the failure to comply, that dropped already. So again, like, and then what is it? I think they're traveling without a license, which they never show up for. So it's okay. Like, going through that was just going through the motion. Again, just for them to save face, to feel like they actually did something, but really in reality they didn't do anything. You know, and I even went to the division this morning to serve them with their own court documents with my nationality name on it, and serve them. And you know, they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't say nothing. And I think that's the most important thing, is that we remain active and moving forward when we deal with these guys. We don't get emotional, because we know what it is. You know where we stand. There's no reason to get emotional with these guys. And we just got to, again, just like they're going through the motions, you yourself as a Moor, you handle your business and serve them, put them on notice. And for the most part, I think from downtown going east, from the center of the city, from the core of the city going east, we've notified quite a few of the divisions. But going west, we haven't. And it's going to take going through maybe a couple of these incidents for them to get notified. I could guarantee you now, 13th Division is unnoticed. You know?
Right.
So that's yeah.
And what about the different interactions with these highwaymen compared to times before, or even from the Negro, black, colored status, like you know, even with yourself going through that before? Like, what's the difference between how they're dealing with you now that you're saying nationality, opposed to when you were Negro, black, colored, and doing the "We Shall Overcome" or whatever?
Well, before I got knowledge of self, it was always, you know, looking at what time I'm thinking about, what time am I looking at, and when can I make a deal to plead, which is not the case anymore. I'm in my proper persona, so I'm not looking to even think about that realm. You know, I think that's the biggest thing, is that I'm not playing into their house or card games. Now I'm standing, and I'm in my proper persona, and I could speak for all I could speak for myself and present myself without any assistance of their court agents. So I think that's the biggest thing, that, you know, they said a closed mouth don't get fed. And in the past, I defer to quote unquote legal court agents, lawyers that they have, and they do their dealings behind closed door, and then I'm just like a slave on the auction up for the market. But now that's not happening. There's no auction at all. You know, there's no market at all. So it's just, okay, sir, thank you. You may go on your way. You know, after they do their little grandstand for the masses, they'll just let you out the back door, which they've been doing since I've known myself. You know.
There's a lot more. Well, give thanks for that. Oh yeah, what about the Asian?
Oh yeah. So there was when I was there overnight, one of the highwaymen in plain clothes came up to me and was like asking about, so tell me about the Moors and whatnot. I'm like, well, I gave him directions to go on look up Canaanland Moors and RV big publications, and I also told him to go check out willofallah.com. And then I proceeded to question him about his background, and I asked him what his nationality was. He goes, oh, he was born in China. So, okay, I'm sure you're a Chinese national. He goes, yeah, my parents came here with take. I'm like, okay, so you, as a Chinese national, are working for a fictitious corporation named Toronto. And he's like, well, technically, I go, no, it's not technically. It is a corporation. So you are running fraud right now. And once I started talking about that, he pretty much left. You know, he left, didn't want to have the conversation. And like I said, ironically today when I went there to serve them notice, I asked for this guy. His name is Will Law. Ironically, his name is Will Law. It was really funny. I'm telling you, this is so divine. I'm like, what's your name? He said Law. I'm like, yeah, what's your first name? Will. I'm like, really? Will Law.
Will Law.
Will Law got served today too about my name. And I also asked him specifically if he got enough information in regards to the Moors. He goes, yes, I have enough. And I told him I directed him to where the temple was, which is down the street from their division. I said, hey, we're there, 2 to 6, whatever you want on Sunday, come by. Which I doubt he will.
Yeah.
Very much.
Straight. Well, yeah, I know you had your stuff to do about Islam. Yo, give thanks for that. Any closing remarks for everybody?
You know what? I just want to give thanks to all the Moors that were at the town hall meeting. I think one of the things that was brought up is that the town hall meeting was that for all the members we have, for the amount of we need to be more active and proactive in just when we say we want to meet up, especially for these town hall meetings. We need to meet up, regardless of what's going on. I know everybody's got their things going on in their lives. Like I had to leave the town hall meeting. That's why I left early, because I was going to another meeting, for my daughter's business that has recently started. And so I mean, we just got to make the time. People make time for what's important to them. And I learned this the hard way. From being incarcerated from back in the days, I learned that about people. They will always make time for what's important to them. And if it's important if our nationality and upliftment of following humanity is important to us, we need to make time for it so we could actually conjugate and plan towards how we do this. Because we just can't all do it by ourselves. Together we stand strong. And that was proven on Sunday. I mean, these guys are so befuddled by the amount of Moors. And we just talking about just a handful of Moors that showed that we just at the meeting, it was like 10 deep or so. You would get a grand sheet, and you saw, it was when I got to the station, they were just so befuddled. So they wanted to inquire so much. I'm like, listen, man, you want to know? Come down to the temple.
Straight.
You want to know? Come down to the temple.
Straight up.
But thanks honest to those Moors that showed up to the town hall meeting and came to my aid on the side of the road there, and honest to the ones that also were able to take the car seat out of the conveyance and get into my wife, and so we don't have any further issues.